Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? Jeff Mosher alongside Adam Kaplan for another Inside the Birds podcast, our first Inside the Birds podcast game review of the year. And look, man, you know what? I don't want to start off negative. The Eagles lost. We're going to get into it. I want to at least highlight something pretty positive about Sunday. And that's we had a kick-ass pregame show at the Goose Island Brew House, and it was broadcast on our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter channels. And Trey Thomas and Greg Cosell were with us. And I just have to thank the viewers, listeners, however, people who are watching it. We got great feedback, and we're pretty much on our way to making this the best pregame show in the Delaware Valley on the Eagles.
Yeah, it was pretty flawless. I said on the our message board late Saturday night, because I had trouble sleeping because you and I had so much work to do to get this thing to work.
Yeah,
from a format standpoint, I was like, look, if we pull this off, nothing will touch what what any of our competition is doing on radio and television, not even remotely close. And it's not a shot at them. Everybody does a good job, but when you do a 2-hour show that no one else could tell us what to do. We know what our listeners have told us over the last years what they want. They tell us on our message board, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We gave them what they wanted. You wanted Greg Cosell. You guys are in love with him. I think you all have a non-sexual crush on Greg, okay? That's a Seinfeld line, by the way. Trey Thomas is phenomenal. His offensive line break, he is so passionate, by the way. You got to see his trench talk. And
he was right.
What he did with us. What's that?
Yeah,
go ahead.
He was right. I mean, he was concerned from the start about the offensive line.
We all were.
He was right. Yeah, well, I know, but he was extra mustard on it.
Although I was stunned, and we're going to get into the game in like 2 minutes, but I was surprised at how well their offensive line, the offense did, quite frankly, in the first quarter, and we know how it ended and how it progressed, but we all got that right. Cosell's analysis on Carson Wentz before the game was off the hook great. Unfortunately, he was correct for Eagle fans. I'm sorry, but we're not cheerleaders. That's not our job. We don't root for the Eagles. We're not fans. We're reporters and analysts, so we tell you what we know and what we see, and Greg nailed it. Trey's offensive line analysis of everything that would happen was spot on. We gave you can watch it, by the way. It's a 2-hour show. You could watch it, the replays on YouTube, of course. It's already up there. You could watch it on Twitter. You could just hit that feed. It's linked. So you can watch it if you want. And we got our scoops on the show. We put it out there. The real Miles Sanders injury is a grade 2 hamstring strain. Jeff, you and I put that out there. We said before the game, it's not out there. We had heard Nate Herbig got a lot of right guard work, probably was going to start. He did. I have to tell you, I was shocked when Doug Peterson said it. I laughed. I didn't believe it. Shame on me. But we got it, before the game. Yeah. We found out. Lane Johnson, we reported, NFL Network reported. Even Jason Kelce confirmed they thought he was playing the night before the game. Lane didn't play, and you and I reported that Jalen Reagor would start at X. He did. And we're going to get the game in 30 seconds here. But I got to tell you, I worked at ESPN on the NFL Insider Show. I don't know that I've ever had so much fun doing a show because we had no restrictions. We did whatever we wanted to do, and we delivered. And Greg and Trey were off the hook, folks. Forget about Jeff and I for a second. Watch these two guys; they're unbelievable. So that was phenomenal.
Really
you did an awesome job of hosting. Oh my God, you were great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The good thing for Inside the Birds pregame live is that we get a chance to carry on that momentum from our first show next Sunday back at Goose Island Brew House, prepare 2 hours before kickoff. The good thing for the Eagles themselves, Adam, as we get into this game, is that unlike us sustaining momentum, they'll have a chance to atone for a pretty dreadful, final 35 minutes of that football game. Where nothing went right. And so we're recording this, it's going to drop Monday morning, so it's still not even 24 hours. And just give me like your main takeaway from that, because we know there's multiple layers, but what thinking about this game maybe 10 minutes after it was over.
All right, so folks, as you're driving into work Monday morning, I wonder how you're feeling after the game. From Sunday night to Monday morning when you woke up, do you feel any different? I would say from watching the train wreck that the game would become after the first quarter and a half, the Wentz's regression, the offensive line's regression, some of it due to injury, obviously. I thought Peterson lost his way. No, I'm not talking about the run pass ratio. Everybody wants that, but I'm not about that. As a matter of fact, when you get up 17-0, you punch them in the mouth. You keep throwing the football. See, I don't believe in hiding the quarterback when you're up 17-0. You go up 30-0, then you pull the air out. 17-0 is not enough points,
especially in the first half.
Yeah, folks, trust me on this. That's not the way NFL teams think who have a clue. You keep throwing the football until you get a big league. Now, I did see the comments on Twitter, and they're very fair about, but what about helping Carson when he's not accurate? And what do you do when nothing else is going right? I get that, and it's a fair comment. But Jeff made such a great point to me after the game, and the best point probably I saw all day on social media. Jeff said, "Where's the intermediate passing game?" And you weren't talking about the tight end stuff. You were like, "Where are the crossers? Where are the drags? Where are those plays over the middle? The slants? Did you see what Kansas City did to Houston when Houston took away the deep stuff? It was Demarcus Robinson, crosser. Travis Kelce, crosser. Even Tyreek Hill, crosser. I thought Doug Peterson did not have a good game and had nothing with the pass run. It was just the play calls. It looked good early. And Jeff, am I being fair? Did you think it got away from him?
I do. I think it got away from him. And I will say this. 5 years in now, if we're going to also shift the blame away from Doug somewhere else, 5 years into your career, when you're Carson Wentz and you are the leader of an offense and you are the leader of a team.
That's the other one.
And you know going into the game that your offense is going to be a little bit behind the eight ball because it doesn't have its top running back, doesn't have Alshon Jeffrey, of course, and it's got two offensive linemen on the right side making their first start ever. If you're Carson Wentz, your mentality has to be, I've got to be a leader here, and I've got to be a quick deliverer of the football to help my offensive line out. And if it's not there, I got to throw the ball away. I was watching the Saints-Bucks game, and both teams did a decent job of getting pressure, Saints more so than the Bucks, but both quarterbacks, Breeze and Brady, you'll notice at times that they can see the sack coming, and they get out of the pocket and just throw the ball down. They're not afraid to throw that ball into the carpet as long as they're outside the box and live to see another down. Carson Wentz threw two really bad interceptions, and both of those interceptions flipped the field and enabled the Redskins, enabled Washington football team, which had very little firepower in that game, to have way short fields and to score and to be 3 or 4 in the red zone, which was surprising. But those shouldn't have happened, and I do put that on Carson. I know a lot of times when people criticize Carson Wentz, it's like the Carson defenders come out and say, but he's working with this and he's working with that.
That's not fair. That's not right.
Okay, that's fine. When he's great like he was in December, I'll call it like he's great. He had to have the responsibility of being better, and he did not take that on his shoulders. That was my
totally with you. I'm not a Carson apologist. We're both truth tellers.
Down the middle.
He did not play well. We're going to get into him in a second, but just to finish my opening thoughts, I thought Peterson got outcoached. I really did. I thought Jack Del Rio got him. He I know they were coming in. You and I thought, I think maybe more than you, but I thought they were going to attack. They did down deep, but the deep ball, other than the incredible catch by Reagor, what a phenomenal catch. Unfortunately, it was his only catch. The deep ball was not there. Part of it was because Carson was under duress. But Jeff, you just nailed it. Another really good point. Take what is there. I get the screen game was not going there. I get there. But the short passes, this is what Greg Cosell said on our pregame show presented by DraftKings. He thought it would be the quick game. Get it out of your hand quickly. You know what also happens? When you get it out of your hand quickly, most likely you're going to be more accurate. And he keeps waiting for stuff to happen. Don't do that, man. At some point, he's got to take responsibility and say, you know what? These passes are built in. This is the West Coast offense. These outlet passes are out there. Okay, if the run game's not going, you've got these outlet passes, and it's not just Wentz, Peterson, Wentz, the offensive line. What did these coaches do to help these players?
Now, I wrote about this in the 10 observations, Adam, because you're bringing up the point. And it's a really good one. That I guess we'll have to wait another week, maybe longer, to really see the impact that Rich Scangarello is going to bring to this offense from an ingenuity standpoint. I get it. Like, you got two guys starting on your right side of your offensive line. You don't have your running back. There's not – you're just trying to get play A, B, and C to be executed correctly. I know now's not the time for jet sweep and Mr. and all that. You're just trying to live,
and by the way,
to see another day here.
That was an issue for me. I brought up on a pregame show, just what you just said. They may not be able to do reverses, some specialty plays, because you're working with two guys on the right side who should be playing.
Right.
Herbig, I know he's a big guy, and it's been a good story as an undrafted free agent, but he clearly was not ready. Right tackle, Lane not playing certainly didn't help things go. It was interesting. Look, Matt, another note before we move on here to the broad part of our show. Matt Pryor clearly is on the outs here in terms of the rotation or being a backup. Like he's like the last guy they would go to. Isn't it interesting how that's happened?
I want to give you something that I was told by a team source that I thought was pretty interesting. It's less about Matt Pryor and more about, other developments. And it's that Jack Driscoll starting at right tackle should not be interpreted as Jordan Mailata had a terrible camp. Okay, you've been talking about Jordan Mailata. He's been okay since the first week. He was behind because of the COVID. He's caught up. And I thought when he went in, he actually played fairly decently for a guy who's never played in an NFL game before. But it's more about the fact that Jack Driscoll played better. He was just better in camp, and you're going to play the guy who's played the best. You and I talk all the time about when Jeff Stoutland likes you and sees something in you, he gives you the opportunity.
He loves him.
Yeah, and Driscoll, I thought, again, I'm sure he had some plays he'd like to have back, but he didn't look like it. He was not, Winston Justice versus O.C. Umenyiora out there at all.
Fair.
Now, with Pryor, you and I know this. He did not have a good camp. Now, we can argue about whether he was set up to fail by moving him to left tackle, but he was playing right guard when Jason Peters was playing right guard as well. He was just playing it on the second team. That's before Dillard got hurt, right? You had Dillard at left tackle, Peters at right guard, so Pryor was on the second team. He wasn't having a good camp on the second team. I don't know why Matt Pryor did not have a good camp, and I think it's arguable about whether or not he should have played anyway, because maybe he's the type of guy that when you put him in a game, he's better. Like in Seattle, we both said against Seattle last year, he held his own. He showed – Trey Thomas said it. Trey Thomas said Matt Pryor did a decent job, a good enough job against Seattle last year that he should be Brandon Brooks' replacement. But they fell so sour on him after a training camp. And I don't know. It's just a little confusing to me that he fell that far that quickly, Adam.
Well, look, my understanding for our sources is that he didn't play well. He did not perform well in practice. He simply didn't. He earned the being a backup and not have a chance to start. To answer your question, that's my understanding. So that's why he's been demoted to almost third team, quite frankly. When you look at their situation right now, they don't have much to turn. Apparently, Driscoll's fine. He's going to be fine.
Right.
They did have the only injury that I know that they're concerned about, and I'm sure it's week to week and not day to day, is going to be Vinny Curry.
Yeah, that didn't look good.
It didn't look good. And here's the problem, man, with their situation. We don't know when Barnett's going to play. I cannot get a straight answer on when he's going to be ready. He missed a lot of time. With Vinny probably out this week at home against the Rams, they got a problem here. Josh Sweat, we've told you, he can only play a certain amount of snaps. He had a beautiful sack. What a great strip sack. He was terrific on that play, but he's not a guy you could play a ton. Brandon Graham, he got hit in the head. They were checking for a concussion. Brand, you can't ask in the hot weather. Boy, it was way warmer than they said. It was in the low 80s and warm as hell. You always want to have that rotation early on. So they got a problem, Jeff, right now. Their defense, before we move on here, not a turnover. You've got to be kidding me.
Right. Look, if you look at the team statistics, the Eagles had more yards than Washington. They had a higher yards per gain per play, offensive play, than Washington, and they had more first downs than Washington. So you say, well, wait a minute, how did Washington score 27 points? It's because the Eagles had 3 turnovers and Washington had 0. That's kind of the sign of, to me, of Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio kind of coming in, changing the culture a little bit. This team's not good. They certainly didn't wow anybody, but they didn't make a whole lot of corrupting mistakes, debilitating mistakes, the way the Eagles did. The Eagles looked like the mistake-prone team, and Washington looked like we're not going to panic. We're going to Riverboat Ron. I swear to God, he's the genius of this guy, right? Twice in the first half, he punts on 4th and 1. And everybody's saying, I thought your nickname was Riverboat Ron.
Right.
But then second half, as you saw, he just didn't panic. He stayed calm. Then he goes for it in the second half. He gets a little bit more aggressive, gets the first down, and then you see Riverboat Ron really come through. They were outcoached. They were absolutely – I normally don't like to use that.
I can't remember last time I said that.
Because I feel like people – right. I feel like every time a team loses, Doug Peterson got outcoached. No, sometimes you just lose. This time I really do feel like they were outcoached and outclassed.
Yeah, right. That would be part of my opening thoughts. I just don't think that the coaches did a very good job. I can't. We're not going to know when we drop our Wednesday morning show. We're going to have the tape review from our sources. It's going to be unvarnished. We're going to have stuff from Ram sources on what they saw from the Eagles' offensive, defensive tape. But I could tell you that none of the coaches should be happy about this game. Boston, for the people who are saying the Eagles' run game truthers, the run game was pathetic. I mean, stop with the run game. I mean,
I mean,
there's a real bad
not big lanes. And they didn't have a whole lot of great run personnel, and then Boston went out for a little bit, and they just weren't. They averaged like 3.2 yards a run.
3-4, yeah, it was awful. They didn't do anything well running the game. You don't run just for the sake of running. People just I've grown up, I grew up here, Jeff, and this has been going on since the Buddy Ryan days. They want defense and they want to run the football. We're not in the Stone Age here. You got to throw the football.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll, I put this out Sunday morning on Twitter. Watch them come out throwing today, and they did. Okay, Pete Carroll, they were the coaches and the front office talked to Pete about it. He finally gave in to come out throwing. Russell Wilson was on absolute fire. You come out throwing, you get a big lead, and then you start reducing your passes. But let's get into this, to the broad part of our show here. So
yeah, real quick before we get into that, Adam, I just want to remind everybody: download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code ITB for a special offer when you sign up. That's code ITB or for a special offer when you sign up only at DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, let's get into some meat and the potatoes. I mean, back to Carson a little bit, Adam, because here's the thing with Carson. We've seen him have these kind of throws of inaccuracy, right, from game to game. Last year, he kind of had it during the middle of the season. It wound up being a prolonged slump, and then all of a sudden the backs are against the wall, and he comes out like, Captain America in December. I'm sure Doug does not want like a 1-4, 1-5 start here. I mean, Carson's got to be better.
Yeah, there's no excuse for poor mechanics. Okay, let's call it like it is. I watched the TV copy after you and I got home from our pregame show. I just went through a lot of his throws, and I look. I have Verizon Fios, so what I do is I stop it. It does have slow-mo. It's actually pretty easy. You just hit pause. Right. You hit the fast forward button, and it just goes frame by frame. You can see on the TV copy a decent amount. You can't see it like all 22, but you can see a decent amount to form an opinion. It's again with the footwork, and we're going to have more detail on this. The footwork is a major problem with him sometimes. He can, and Greg Cosell said this on our show, and he's absolutely right. He's not a quarterback who can get away with bad footwork. He's got to be able to make throws when his feet aren't great with accuracy, better balance. Cosell talked about that. His balance sometimes is not good. He's not Brett Favre. He can't get away with it. You got to have your feet set. This is on the coaches as well. Yeah, it's Carson. He's the quarterback. Peterson, I said this last year, Jeff. Peterson's got to get involved with coaching this guy more than he has, okay? This is not acceptable. Carson's better than this. We know that. You're right about the way that he finished last season, the last quarter. See, this is what happens when you make excuses for quarterbacks. When Carson wasn't good in the middle of the season, okay, we didn't bring up the lack of talent. His mechanics weren't good. By the way, how bad was the talent around him when he played well to finish the season?
I know.
No one brought that up, right?
Yeah. It should be noted, though, and I thought you brought this up pretty well last year in December, that even when they went 4-0, and even though he had some really nice throws, some great games, there were still some mechanical issues going on. It's just that, they were playing the Giants, they were playing Washington, They're playing some pretty bad teams. I'm not trying to take anything away. I'm just saying, like, he was a lot better, but it's not like he was polished to the point where it looked like 2017 all over again. Remember, the first half against the Giants, they were down 17-0.
He was bad. He was bad.
Game.
Yeah, they got booed off the field. Yeah,
right.
But what I would say about those 4 games, this is where he was really good. He did make everyone around him better. Did he miss throws? Absolutely, which had nothing to do with the guys he was working with. When you don't – well, actually, he did in a way. Let me correct myself. But here's why it did matter. When you're working with lesser talent and they're not getting open, check the goddamn ball down, okay? Our people on the message board, on our Facebook board, have reminded me of this because I've been saying it for 2 years, and a lot of them agree with me. They brought it up as well. Check the ball down. It's in the offense. The checkdowns are there, okay? They're there for you. Take them. Boston Scott's really good outside formation. That's where he's pretty good. Corey Clement, he didn't do much in this game, but wait till they get Sanders back. That you got to check it down. I don't know what Doug Peterson can do. It's just not in his DNA, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder this. If this will be a long-standing, topic of conversation for us for a while. I mean, first it was Mike Rowe. He's the problem. Now Mike Rowe's gone. Then it was Press Taylor. Even he caught it a little bit last year, and now Press is promoted. I'm sure people are going to come down on him. But at some point, I agree with you that Doug needs to step in. But at some point, when does it just become when is the message going to be received by the quarterback himself? I know you're saying that it's not just the coaches. Carson's involved too. But how many coaches do you have to go through before the same issue becomes simply the guy? I mean,
I would say this. It's what is the message? A, how's it being delivered? B, and how are you holding him accountable? Now, you're not benching him, obviously. I'm not talking about that. But DeFilippo, the former quarterbacks coach, had a way of reaching Carson. He was not trying to be his best friend. He coaches very hard. Talking to guys who've coached with him, he actually can be confrontational.
Right.
I did it with Derek Carr, from what I'm told. He's done it over his career. These guys respond to him. He doesn't worry about what they think.
Mm-hmm.
He's fearless as a coach. The kid that's coaching him, Press Taylor's a talented kid. He's really smart, but he needs to divorce himself from his relationship with Carson personally, and he's got to be professional and get on this guy's bleep.
Right.
He's got to. Carson's got to respond to this. Look, it's only the game 1, but this has been an ongoing issue. This kid is so gifted. Carson Wentz is so gifted. Greg Cosell talked about it on our pregame show. His highest highs are maybe top 2 or top 3 in the National Football League. We saw it in 17. 18, he was hurt, okay? We can make excuses for him there. 19, there were no excuses.
Right.
It's fair to bring up the talent level that he worked with. That's fine. But the bad mechanics that come up occasionally are not an acceptable excuse. I'm sorry. It's just not.
No, I agree with you. I mean, look, we call it the way it is. When guys were dropping passes all over the place last year, we said it. We said, look, I forget which game it was. Maybe the Atlanta game or the Detroit game. The
Atlanta game. Nelson dropped a touchdown. Game over, right?
Yeah, and then Arcega-Whiteside at the end of the Detroit game, and then even Goddard was dropping. I mean, we said Carson's playing well. It's just you can't blame the guy. You can't blame the guy when everybody's dropping.
Sure.
Well, people weren't dropping today.
But okay, let's get.
I mean, Zach Ertz had one, but
I know it's unfortunate. He should have had it. He knows that. So I'm glad you brought that up because let's get to the receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Rager had a phenomenal catch. It was incredible. His ball tracking, that's a good sign. However, he didn't really do much after that.
He got open on that skinny post right before the half. It's just Carson missed him.
He missed him, but he threw it inside. See, that's the thing, though. As I was talking about earlier to start the show, I don't know the timing between Rager and Wentz. He was targeted 4 times. He only had the 1 catch. So part of this is something we didn't talk about a lot because Rager did not work with Carson in April and May and June, other than they did work together before camp started. I think with Jalen and Carson, because Jalen's from Texas and Carson has house in Texas, they did work out together. But in terms of being in the complex together, they had not worked together until the second week of August when they started practicing on the field. Mm-hmm. So clearly, they're not there yet. And you look at John Hightower, had a bad game. I mean, let's call it like it is. He had a bad drop. He didn't look strong. We said this in the pregame that physically he's not there yet, but he's got a great football IQ and he's fast as hell.
Right.
He did not have a good game. I'll tell you, this came up to me. Someone, pretty good NFL source, came up to me and brought this up to me watching the game today against Washington. He said, "You know what? Philly misses Alshon Jeffrey." I said, "Why do you say that?" He's like, "Because you can't just have a bunch of fast guys. It's great to have that. You need a possession receiver who's dependable." I'll tell you what, Alshon may not be fast, but he's dependable.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can see what that guy's saying. I would also say, though, going back to Doug on this, I don't think they gave Jalen that opportunity. We talked about Ronald Darby being on that side, and that's a guy that you got slant, and sluggo. Set him up. And I cannot I'd have to go back and watch. I don't remember a whole lot of that. I thought you would see that.
I didn't do any of it.
I thought you'd see Carson a little bit more out of the pocket. Just to get a pass rush.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. I mean, I know, look, you go back and look at the last 5 years of the Andy Reid era, and you can see some bad starts. For whatever reason, he would get his guys beat up in August in training camp, then they would start slow. You know, like 2006 was like that. I think 2008 was like that. 2009. And then they would rally in November to December.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
This was kind of this was ugly, only in the way that they looked so nice and everything was like a well-oiled machine for the first 20, 25 minutes. And then it all went south. And it almost felt predictable. Like, Jack Del Rio was going to make some adjustments, do a few things. They were going to stay calm. And here's another thing Adam, and we talked about this a little bit. When Carson Wentz throws that second touchdown pass to Zach Ertz, right? That put him on the board for the second time. That was a few plays after the 55-yard pass to Reagor.
Well, Ertz caught the first touchdown, didn't he?
I'm sorry, when Goddard, whoever caught the second touchdown.
Yeah, the 34-yard was Goddard. He had a great game.
Yeah,
he was good.
But that was almost a disaster of a drive because Carson was sacked 3 times on that drive. That 3rd and 20, whatever that Jalen Reagor caught, bailed that drive out. And so the ugliness was kind of there already. It's just that they were compensating. They hit a big play. And you thought maybe they would be able to hit more big plays like that. And certainly they weren't. And I don't know why Deshaun Jackson was in and out of the game. Was it a hip? Was it a hand? Was he fine?
Well, they definitely are not going to play him a ton of snaps. That's not the way that you use him at 33 years old. But you're right. It was weird. Like early in the game, they probably, because they were up big, 17-0, they were kind of like, I'll see what the snap counts look like, but it looked like they were just putting him in and out. But man, their lack of a possession receiver, and Arcega-Whiteside did not even have a target, that he needs to be that guy until Jeffrey comes back. That is his real purpose on this football team. Be that guy who could get a first down. You had said, a couple months ago, you had heard he's playing the slot. Well, that's a tall slot. Like Jordan Matthews, I love that your source gave you. It's exactly what they need. They need a dependable. Greg Ward's he's a great story. There's no question. He's not explosive in any way. He's not going to do much after the catch. They really need help here. Now, I know we're going a little crazy. It's week 1. We don't want to go overboard, but we all saw it. Everybody saw what happened. This game, Jeff, I don't need the all-22 to tell me what happened here. I know 75% of the story. We'll learn about what the tape really tells us, but this was when you're up 17-0, you put them the hell away. That's what you do.
Yeah, no, and it's kind of I've wondered for a little bit on how the complexion of the game would have looked if Carson and Reagor had connected on that deep pass right before halftime.
Oh, it would
have been a touchdown, and it would have put them up 24-7, right? I mean, they would have been up, or 24-3. No, yeah, 24-7, and that's a pretty good, maybe even more than that. Now that I think about it, what was the halftime score? I need a little refresher. It was 17.
I will look at.
Yeah, it was 17-7 at halftime. Okay. It was 17-7. Yeah. So that would.
Do you know what?
24-7 going into the break, and that's a nice little animal there when you get that extra cushion.
Yeah, if it's a confidence booster. Guess how many yards Wentz had in the second half?
Oh, God, I can't even imagine.
It's embarrassing.
190?
Less than 90. Yeah, less than 90.
Oh my God, not good at all.
That's just that can't happen. This was. I think just to finish this off, we definitely noticed that they were lacking someone who could just make a play at receiver, not a tight end, at receiver, and that's a problem. They need someone physical, and that's something that I didn't even know about until I actually thought about this. Guy brought up the Jeffrey point. I thought it was a great point.
Yeah,
You don't have to
it's
be
an interesting point.
yeah, he's a big pass target at receiver, so we'll see
Yeah.
when Jeffrey comes back, but that's kind of my thoughts on offense.
Yeah, no, Jeffrey's, when they bring the heat and you need someone to get out of their break quick, sit down, get their hands up and catch the ball, Jeffrey's very good at that. So I can understand,
Mhm.
and
That's
Jalen being a
that's a
rookie.
great role. And you know what? That's an
Yeah.
important role for them. They need that.
Yeah. And they were really bringing the heat in the second half as well. Washington
Oh,
was. So, like, yeah.
oh,
All right, we'll move on a little bit, talk about the defense. First, I want to remind everybody, check out our friends at phlsportsnation.com. They are enhancing the fan experience with their coverage of all 4 Philly sports teams like nobody else. They have a great Twitter account at PHL Sports Nation. And, of course, all their work you can find, including their podcast, at phlsportsnation.com. Let's take another quick pause for a word from our other great sponsors. All right, Adam, we talked a little bit about play calling, right? I mean, just kind of where certain things were.
sure.
I don't want to get too much into next week, but I have to think with Miles back and then maybe with Lane back, Doug's got to, go to the book and do something a little different. Aaron Donald's coming to town, and I just think you need to see a little bit more of a spice to the playbook now.
Yeah, I agree with your point and Cosell's point before in our pregame show about moving the pocket. Trey brought it up as well. Get Carson moving. Carson throws the ball really well when he rolls out. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember. I don't know if he even had one. Maybe he did. Maybe I'm forgetting, but I don't remember him rolling out. Look, let me just get back to the run game for a second. If they were successful, if it looked like they were rolling on a little bit, I would have no problem with them staying with it. For the run truthers that run the football, which I'll never be, but I am actually a little bit. If you're having success with it, at least you have it in your pocket. They were so not effective running the football. I'm like, throw the goddamn football. It's the only thing they seem to be able to do well. And that went south. I'm like, I don't know, but I still thought when it was 17-7, I'm like, they're going to win this game. They're not going to choke this one. Right. I'm still stunned. I'm like, and up in arms. Our Facebook page. Oh my God, the comments! I wanted to hug these people, our friends there on the Facebook page. I felt so bad for them. They're like besides themselves. It is. I get it. Being a fan, it's tough, man. It's only one game, though. It's only one game.
It is just one game. Let's talk a little bit about the defense.
Yeah.
I was a little all right. I'm not don't want to make too much of this, but one thing that kind of stuck out to me, maybe under the radar a little bit, is that I didn't think Brandon Graham kind of had his normal explosion off the edge. I don't know, like a step slow a little bit.
I mean, he had the one play, but that was it.
Yeah, he had one play, right. Normally you see Brandon assert himself in both phases. He had a good run defense, and then, he's the master of pushing the pocket and somebody else gets the sack because he gets his hands on the guy, but he can't always wrap him up. But I don't know. Then he went, he looked like he got his clock cleaned on one play. But I think you bring up a really good point going forward with Vinny Curry out. And there was
he started, by the way. Just for the record, he started.
Right. There was a play when I think Brandon was out. It was 4th and 1, so Ron got aggressive. And they were down to Josh Sweat on one end and Jannard Avery on the other. And you were asking me, like, there was a linebacker in the game. I'm like, nope, that was actually
the goal line. In the goal line, I was like, oh,
and they ran a
trouble.
sweep to that side.
Yeah.
And, you can't have Jannard Avery playing, like, a lot of snaps in run defense. He's built like a linebacker, not a D-end. He's built like a pass-rushing linebacker.
Well, he is – I'm told he's over 250, but he's small. You're right. By the way, I am shocked that they didn't win against Garen Christian. I can't believe it. I thought – I got that one wrong. God, I thought, oh my God, I was like, I can only go by what I know, and I thought they would dominate. We all kind of did. Although Cosell said that his tape was intriguing from college, but the word was that Christian, that I'd heard around the league was that Christian was not ready. But you couldn't tell it from this game. He held his own. Wes Martin is a guy that beat out the other Wes, the kid who Schweitzer came over from Atlanta.
Right.
But look, bottom line is their D-line didn't win. They do need Hargrave back. They need to get him back. They got some challenges here which we didn't know about. That's what the good thing about week 1 is coaches always tell me this. At least we get tape now. Now we know what we have to improve on. They got a lot of proving to do, Jeff, on both sides of the football.
Yeah, I was going to try to think. When's the last time the Eagles played a game? I mean, the Eagles' strength is their D-line. When's the last time the Eagles played a game and when the game was over, you thought to yourself, "Wow, the other team's D-line really brought it.
Oh
The
my
Eagles
God.
were just. Oh, I mean, and the Eagles weren't bad. They stopped the run very well, by the way. They
Yeah.
just didn't. They didn't. There weren't that many impact. There was the sack from Sweat, and then the strip. I think from was that Brandon Graham who had the strip.
Yes,
I forget what it
yes,
was.
but what I would say is this: the
Mhm.
Eagles' O-line was terrific in the first quarter and a half. Okay, something happened. Everything was discombobulated. Wentz lost it. They had no run game when they needed it just to go to. The offensive line started losing it. It just was one domino after another, and their defense did not handle its own in terms of forcing turnovers, getting pressure. A lot of things happened that I was not expecting. Kendall Fuller wound up not playing.
I know.
Was more of a slot corner that I thought the Eagles would take advantage of that. It just that no one should be proud of this game, and obviously if you're an Eagles player or you're a coach, you're pissed off because this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
The fans are just up in arms. I get it. There's a lot of hate out there, and I'm not going to listen. I've always said it's your right to feel the way you want. I'm not going to tell you not to be pissed off and saying junk. I get it. You know you're pissed off, but it's only one game. You know that the stats pretty good. They're going to regroup. But as you just said, the Rams are coming into town with a lot of firepower on offense. Eagles were not challenged this game. That's the thing I want to say before we get out of here. They were not challenged at all in the pass game because other than McLaurin, who they did a good job shutting down, Steven Sims made a play. Gibson was their running back. He's not quite there as a running back. He's not instinctive. They never should have. The one thing I do want to add is that the defense was given a short field to work on. That's why that's why they wore down, because they were put in a tough position because the offense collapsed in the second half where they were punting from their 10 or 5 and giving the defense short fields. That's just not going to work.
You know what's crazy? I think that the Eagles secondary played pretty well.
Yeah.
But how many times last year did we say if the Eagles just got some adequate play out of their corners and secondary, they would kill anybody that they played? And here they go, and they lose the game. I mean, you can't make this up.
No, weird game. You're right. You're absolutely right. It was a very odd game. And I got a lot of stuff wrong in my predictions. Although, how about the game going over? Are you bleeping kidding me? The game never should have gone over after what happened in the third quarter.
We should have known from last year. We should have remembered from last year. Everybody said under. Last year was a 34-27
It went over by a point.
Game, right?
It was so ridiculous. And didn't you say on a pregame show that the line went up? The over-under went up?
It moved from 5.5 to 6, I believe.
Oh, the line. Okay.
Oh, I don't remember about the over. If it moved, it was only slightly.
Okay, but it was just an anomaly game. Stuff that was so obvious that should have happened didn't happen. Although it sure as hell looked like it early on, man, when they were dominating. But hey, look, again, only one game. We'll have injury updates on Wednesday. We're gonna. I cannot wait till we get to our tape people. I cannot wait to get our first tape reviews from our people, and and I'm gonna watch the all 22 as well. I know you will.
Right.
But man, there's nothing like getting the truth unvarnished, and this is how you learn. And we appreciate everybody's support. Our traffic was tremendous for the show, and for the Sunday pregame show was unbelievable. Special thanks to our friends at Goose Island Brewery in Fishtown, by the way. It's right off Delaware Avenue. Very easy to find, man.
Really easy.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's in a great area, and parking is easy. It's so much room. The weather was great, and look, the thing is, there will not be a lot of traffic, folks, because fans can't go to the game. Go there; it's all spread out. It was wonderful. We should have stayed there to watch it, quite frankly.
Then maybe we will next week with some fans socially distant. Oh, by the way, how can I forget to mention that a lot? Most people are going to be listening to this pod on Monday when it drops at 6 a.m. in that vicinity. Tonight we make our debut on 97.5 The Fanatic from 6 to 8 p.m.
Oh yeah, every Monday
right
night.
Out of Mike
Actually,
show.
Okay, so here's what we got. Okay, for you on Monday morning. Monday mornings the entire season. Jeff or I, we're alternating every week, 8 a.m. We have a segment. It's the day after the morning show with Mark Farzetta and crew.
Right.
And then Monday night, 6 to 8 p.m. Jeff and I, we have our own show, Inside the Birds. Special thanks to Josh Weinfeld, our business manager, and Chuck D'Amico, the program director. 97.5 The Fanatic, and Mark Farzetta for going to bat for us. And so we've got a show Monday nights. As far as the Eagles go, if you can't hear it in the Delaware Valley, you can listen to the rap, which is phenomenal. You could go online and listen to it. It's great. And we are so excited to be back on The Fanatic. You and I did a couple when you were a host there 3 years ago. Jeff was hosting in the summer, and I came in to talk about the Eagles, and I went up to talk about the Sixers for an hour and a half. The summer league. It was the funniest thing I've ever done. It's my fault.
We actually did it. It was right after summer league and into the season, and you brought your notes, and we did a Sixers roster prediction show.
You're right. I loved it. You know what? I love that. I felt like a fan. It was awesome. One of the few times I get to be a fan. I loved it, man. So,
there you go.
I just want to thank all of our listeners. We've been overwhelmed with the comments on Sunday. It was just, I was a little skeptical of this happening because we put it together in a week and a half, but it could not have been more flawless. And thank you for our friends who produced the show. It's phenomenal. And
Rebel Hill,
I just can't wait.
They were great. Yeah.
Yeah. Cannot wait till week 2, man.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, and we're going to do this every Monday during the season, we got to give our man of the game, our Manscaped man of the game.
Oh, I got it.
You think of yours, and I'll tell people, football is back, and that means it's time to throw on your team's colors and make sure you don't fumble your grooming below the waist. Our partners at Manscaped are here to save your boys from a vicious hit so you stay clean and take care of yourself where it matters most. Manscaped is here with a surefire touchdown with the best tools for your grooming experience. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months, it's a long time, perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer. The Lawnmower 3.0 is simply the best hygiene tool for the modern man. Because of their ceramic blade and skin-safe technology, your snags will be reduced, and their Perfect Package 3.0 comes with the new and improved Lawnmower waterproof cordless body trimmer, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag for you to use when you're done quarantining. The Perfect Package 3.0 also comes with the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver. The Preserver, Adam, is an anti-chafing ball deodorant, which ensures that your afternoon stroll doesn't end up with the ball sticking to your leg. The Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls.
Why can't we call them testicles?
I got my accent.
Why can't we call them testicles?
I have no idea. The Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls, and it's made with and witch hazel extracts that will give your balls a boost.
Get 20% off free shipping with the code ITB at manscaped.com. Take advantage of this limited time offer from Manscaped's Pro Bowl lineup and try it for yourself. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code ITB at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code ITB. This football season, audible from the ordinary and choose Manscaped for your most important male grooming needs.
All right, Adam, who was your Manscaped man of the game?
Got to be Dallas Goedert. There's no question. He was my player of the game coming in. He was my player of the game coming out. The Washington team was the 5th worst against tight ends the season before. Those numbers courtesy of my friends at fantasypoints.com. I looked it up. I always look at the points against, what they give up in terms of yardage and touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Landon Collins is a box safety, and it's real simple. That you go after him. He doesn't cover very well. He's a impact guy, but he's not a great cover guy. And the Eagles took advantage of it. Goddard was, man, he can move, man. He's an athlete. There's no question about it, and he did a great job.
All right, my Manscaped man of the game, Adam, is going to be Dwayne Haskins because he had no running game. His running backs averaged 2.2 yards a carry. His top receiver was shut down. Well, not shut down, but for McLaurin against the Eagles, 61 yards is basically shut down. And he really just could not afford to make any mistakes and turn the ball over, and he didn't. So I'm going to give him a lot of credit for that. The Eagles' defense was at least a run-stopping defense and put some pressure on him, and he did not turn the ball over at all, and that was a big difference for Washington in the game. So that is my Manscaped man of the game. And that will do it for this edition of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in the Eagles intel. Thanks very much to our producer, Hunter Brody. Check out his work on YouTube, Sports Talk with Broads. Check out his work on Twitter, @Broads81. And, of course, as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the Birds.